Hi, welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Jamie McFadden, and I'm so excited to have you here. This podcast is about all things wellness. Each week, we will focus on a word of the day, and I interview some of the most inspirational people I know and share that inspiration with you. Join me, let's learn together on What's the Word.
This is the place where I belong.
Hi, I'm Jamie McFadden, and welcome back to What's the Word, the podcast where we focus on self-care through a word of the day. This is another solo episode brought to you by me, and today we're going to focus on the word reflection, specifically diving into self-reflection. So wherever you're at right now, take a moment, a big breath in through your nose, and release that breath out your mouth or your nose, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Let it all go. And in this podcast, I'm going to share with you my 5 top questions to ask myself, and I hope you can ask yourself these questions to enhance our awareness and self-reflect upon where we're at right now. Self-reflection is truly about taking some time out for serious and honest thoughts and consideration. Think of it as we're collecting data, and I want you to be as objective as possible. So for the exercise that we're going to get into today, do your best to feel the feelings that may arise for you, but try to be more objective instead of allowing yourself to potentially sulk or feel not so great about the things that you want to feel better about. So the art of reflection, it's often something that we let go or we forget about because we have such busy lives. So if you are anything like many of my clients in the world, it can be really incredible what happens when you spend just a simple 5 to 10 minutes doing some self-reflection. It is a tool that I want you to have on your tool belt so it can help enhance your personal growth and really just using it to look into your past, but also past your past, and identify and assess some of your strengths and weaknesses, to know and to understand your fears and also what you're really good at. So I want to ask you right now, do you have a willingness to learn and grow as an individual? Yes? Wonderful. Practicing self-reflection will take one of my other favorite words, which is discipline. If you haven't checked out that solo episode, please do. And intentionality. It requires you to simply press pause on the chaos that may be going on in your busy life and actually take a moment for you to ponder your life, which for many of us is not an easy task. So a couple tips I want you to think about before we get into my 5 questions. Most importantly, be kind to yourself. I want you to treat yourself through these exercises as the greatest person in your life and the person you love, number 1. So if you start to think some not so great thoughts or you start to feel bad during any of these questions, I want you to take a moment and come back to kindness. Be kind to yourself, be compassionate, and treat yourself with love. Most importantly, in addition to being kind, is to be honest. If you aren't being honest with yourself during these questions and self-reflection, you then aren't actually collecting the true data, and then you can't really move forward. If you have a journal, I highly suggest using a journal. If you don't have a journal yet, please get one, and you can reflect upon your experience in that journal. You can do this also on an electronic journal, or maybe you can make a voice memo. Look for patterns as you do these reflection questions and start to notice what they tell you about yourself. Allow yourself to meet yourself where you're at. And in addition to that, then begin to think about your village. As you know, I believe self-care is not a solo mission, and I want to start creating the conversation more around the fact that it does take a village. So we call that, in the neuroscience world, it is considered co-regulation. And that is all about the support that we have in our world currently that is helping us in our daily lives supporting our personal growth. So start to think about those people in your life that are there to support you. Meditation can be incredibly helpful, even just taking some deep breaths. And as you ask yourself these questions, think about asking what oftentimes versus why, so that we don't get drowned in that negative victim mode of why did this happen to me, or why am I doing this, but what can I be doing differently? Do you see the difference there? So last but not least on this, a couple tips. Baby steps. Everything that I teach in the WAVE system all has to do with taking one baby step at a time. It is proven time and time again through numerous studies all over. You could Google one right now that taking baby steps is inevitably going to be much more effective in the long term than trying to take a leap and a bound to change everything in your life. So you're here, you showed up, that's awesome. Let's celebrate that. Let's cultivate the energy so that we can continue to grow and learn as an individual. So it starts right here with these 5 self-reflective questions. There are so many questions, but these are just 5 that were resonating with me and my clients recently, so I wanted to share them with you. Number 1, what do I want? Ooh, this can go in so many different directions, but if you ask yourself, what do I want? That will begin to allow you to cultivate some awareness in where you're at. So feel free to write this down or just think about it. What do you want? And number 2, what am I afraid of? Oftentimes, these are our limiting beliefs. For many of us, it's simply failure, or some could be rational, some could be irrational thoughts that we have based around usually some sort of a fear or a limiting belief. So what am I afraid of? And quite frankly, what I love about self-reflection is there's no right or wrong. So whether you're thinking right now, well, I'm afraid of not taking that opportunity because I'm afraid that I will fail, or I'm afraid to get in the ocean because I fear sharks, or whatever it may be, I want you to just allow yourself space to simply answer the question, what am I afraid of? And number 3, what makes you feel most alive? This one is one of my favorite questions, and there's a part 2. What makes you feel most alive, and are you doing this often? So many of my clients and friends and family, and sometimes myself, answer this question. And we often know what makes us feel alive. And yet so often I hear the response, are we doing it enough? And usually the answer is no. So it's okay because we're collecting data, but how are we going to shift that? So start to think about the things that make you feel most alive. Sometimes I just jot these down and write down a whole list, like a brain dump list of, ocean, blue, water, sun, friends, family, work, all these different things that make me feel alive. Number 4, what areas of your life feel like they need some improvement? Maybe at work, home, your health, relationships, etc. This can go in all directions. Remember, we have 6 pillars of wellness: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and financial. P.S. I just thought of this. I'm going to make a song about the 6 pillars of self-care. So yeah, we'll have a jingle soon. But for now, choose one of those and think about one area of your life that needs some improvement. Once again, meet yourself where you're at. This is not about shame or guilt or feeling unworthy or you're not good enough. You are certainly good enough, whether you believe it or not in this moment. It does just take bringing the awareness to understanding where you're at so then you can understand where next to go. And last but not least, this is certainly my favorite. I do this exercise and I self-reflect upon this multiple times a day. It has, in fact, literally changed my life. And for those of you that don't know, I was someone who suffered from severe insomnia, which led to depression and anxiety at a very young age during my adolescent years. And thankfully, not only did doing this self-reflective question be part of what changed my life, but it's now something that I literally make sure all of clients and friends and family, my daughter, we ask this question every day. Very simple. I'm sure you've heard it. What am I grateful for? I know. It's a simple one, yet it's very profound. And the more that you do it and the more that you have a simple appreciation for the things that you do have in your life, you can help cultivate more of the life that you want. It's that simple. It truly is. Many of our thoughts, believe it or not, are negative. Many of them are reoccurring. We have over 70,000 thoughts per day, and it can actually make you feel happier when you acknowledge what you are grateful for. And this could be something so minor. I remember back in the day when I had insomnia and I wasn't feeling well, and I was in and out of doctor's offices, and I was a child having to go through all of this. And I remember the last thing I wanted to do was focus on what I'm grateful for, because in that moment I was stuck in the victim mentality. I remember thinking, like, why is this happening to me? I didn't think it was happening for me. And thank goodness I grew through all of the pain and the dirt, because now it has become my purpose and the gratitude practice that I started even when I didn't like doing it. There's the discipline. When I didn't like doing the gratitude practice, guess what? It still became part of my routine. And every single day, focusing on just one simple thing. Maybe it was someone's smile. Maybe it was a song I heard. Maybe it was my dog that just comforted me when I was feeling sad. Whatever it was, having a gratitude practice is going to help you cultivate better feelings inside of yourself. And when we feel better, it's going to translate in our entire lives. These are my 5 favorite self-reflection questions. I do think about these daily, weekly, all the time, and I journal them often. So I highly suggest you thinking about these 5 questions. I'll just repeat them one last time. Number 1 is, what do I want? Number 2, what am I afraid of? Number 3, what makes me feel most alive, and am I doing this often? Number 4, what areas of your life need some improvement? And number 5, last but not least, what am I grateful for? So I want to thank you so much today for taking time out of your day to spend with me. Hopefully you can go outside and get a nice walk if you didn't already do that while listening to this podcast. I encourage you, every time you listen to a podcast, if at all possible, go for a walk. Move your body while you move your mind. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to hearing from you. Please be sure to subscribe, maybe share this with a friend, but whatever you do, take care of yourself. I'm Jamie McFadden, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.